Majo, John, Ned, and Juanito sitting in my little house on the prairie, my little house on the edge of the Akumal Pueblo. The night before I go into the hospital for pretty serious tests about a condition that's been dragging me down for a month and could potentially take me out. We just don't know. Need to do a bunch of tests. So I guess the best way I can get ready for that day at the hospital tomorrow is to reminisce about my days as a baseball player. That's how it seems to be going. And it included me downtown El Centro of Akumal today, living out a fantasy. As I've been traveling for 5 years, I've been watching in Appalachia and here in Mexico. I love watching the distributors unloading at the various grocery stores. They're so talented, so skilled with what they can carry, and especially guys unloading big bags of ice. And that was happening downtown today. And even though I'm wildly sick, they know me at the Tres Hermanos grocery store. And I went over and in my best Spanish said, I played a lot of baseball as a kid. I'm really pretty good. Why don't you throw one of those big bags of ice to me? And when the guy in the truck was about to do it, I headed him off just in time. And I know they were shaking their heads going, that guy is goofy as hell. How does he even manage to function in the world out there? But it was big fun. So it got me going about baseball. And I want to share 3 more memories about my life as a baseball player. One from here in Mexico, one from back in Chicago as my brother was dying of cancer, and one from my Hoven years, as a kid, the peak of my baseball abilities. So here in Mexico, I spent the summer of 23 with my camper van broken down at a restaurant called a Rayleigh restaurant in a little 400-person pueblo. And I've been saying to people, if they give me 6 months to live, I'm going back to El Diamante and I'm going to see my friends over there. And I spent every day uploading my videos. The restaurant had a good Wi-Fi because it was also connected with the hotel. And I got to know all the characters through wonderful 3 nuclear families ran that restaurant. And little Sarah was a Spitfire who was one of the waitresses, and she was good waitress. They totally trusted her to run the restaurant by herself. And she also had pretty edgy taste in Mexican rock and roll and a great Bluetooth speaker, and so I would do a lot of dancing around there. And one day we discovered she was an old baseball player. And I had not a hard ball, but just a tennis ball. And we got in. She didn't always like me because I was sassy in ways she did not like. She thought I was way too outrageous. Her famous line was, "No, John. No, you cannot do that, John." But when we discovered we were both baseball players, we got high, throwing that ball hard and fast at each other and going, whoa, you're pretty good. It was the high point of my relationship with little Sarah. 10 years ago, something like 10 years ago, back in Chicago, I was living in Asheville and my brother was dying of cancer in Chicago. And one of my many trips up to Chicago to see him, I had just bought or been given a baseball glove. I hadn't had one for a long time, and I thought, I'm going to get that brother of mine who we played catch for hundreds of hours, thousands of hours as a kid. I'm going to get him out for one last game to catch. And we got his old Nellie Fox glove, had been a hell of a good glove in its day, out of the garage. We went to the hardware store and got neat's foot oil and rubbed it down, got it nice and supple again, and went in his backyard and got the rhythm of take that stride, throw the ball. We started throwing high ones to each other. Didn't talk, just did like we always did, throwing the ball back and forth. And he lasted all of about a half an hour, and then he had to go and sit down. And it's the most physical thing he did in those. I think he lasted another month or so, but we were happy. We were in the zone. We were Johnny Mike and little Terry playing ball. And then one from my youth. We've gone through the day out to one of the lakes outside of Chicago. and there's a baseball field there. And there's a bunch of other guys playing softball, and in Chicago you play 16-inch mush ball, but the balls are hard when you first start playing. Well, I think St. Louis is the only other place in the country where they play that game. So these other guys challenge us to a game of baseball. I'm playing left field. And what I'm noticing is they're hitting one single after another right over the shortstop. And I'm sneaking in and I'm going to snag one of those line drives. And I see a guy come up to bat, and this other guy pulls him over and gives him a signal. I knew exactly what they said. Do you see how short that left fielder is playing? Bomb one over his head. And I swear I turned and started to run backwards before the ball was even hit. And I ran like hell. And I think they were all around the bases when I caught that motherfucker. I reached way up and caught that ball. One of my all-time great moments in sports. Yeah. Transformative. America's game. Football is the national game in Mexico, but they play a lot of baseball and have produced a lot of great ball players in the U.S. And so I, who have been so sick that some days lately I just get out of the chair. I'm happy if I get out of the chair 3 times in a day. I just was out here in the big open space playing that song, Center Field by John Fogerty, that I posted in the comment on my baseball post. And I was dancing. Like I was the famous dancing vendor in the stands at the Asheville Tourist Ballpark. I did a moonwalk. I could do a mean moonwalk. And you know, when I finally got bored with that job and quit, they came after me. They said, no, you got to come back to the ballpark. The fans miss you. So maybe my best job in Asheville. Okay.